There's 3 subtle ways that I consistently see women repeatedly showing interest in me. Now understand, guys, that women do not blatantly show interest. There are micro signs and subtleties in these interactions, but I want to point out the 3 most obvious ones after studying so much of my footage and going back and looking at it and coaching other men and watching their footage. I've seen these patterns recurring over and over and over again. And so if you're aware of these 3 things, this will actually give you a little bit more confidence in your interaction, because most men, they're so nervous or afraid, or they don't know how to ask the woman out. And a lot of men won't even go up and approach girls. They actually wait for choosing signals, or they only talk to women that are already interested in them. Now, most women won't give very obvious signs that they're into you, but these are subtle things that I see repeatedly happening over and over and over again. So I want to show you the footage of it. But the other reason behind this is because by showing you this, you can also strategically alter the way you interact with them to play into this advantage. So let me explain each one of these signs, but then also how you should be adjusting the way that you play the interaction to give her the opportunity to display that interest. I also want to say, before we get into these 3, that just because you see one of these does not mean that the girl is completely sold on you. So you do need to understand all of the signs, as well as how you can adjust your interactions, which I'll lay out all of this in this video. Let's get into number 1. In my opinion, this is the one I noticed that happens the earliest on in the interaction. I typically go up, I start the conversation, maybe I do a direct approach, maybe it's even an indirect approach, and we're somewhere between 5 to 30, 40 seconds into the interaction. And the woman will then say, "What's your name?" And I know what you're thinking, that's probably an obvious one. Oh, well, if she's asking your name, she must be somewhat interested. And that's true. I actually agree to that. But what I've noticed is that the women will almost randomly ask. Like, we're in the middle of a conversation, and then out of nowhere, the girl just says, "What's your name, by the way?" I have friends out here I'm visiting for today, so I'm meeting up with them in a little bit.
What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle?
Kyle,
Nice to
yes.
meet you.
Who are you? Or if the conversation dies and there's a second pause, you give her a second to answer, a lot of women will take the conversation towards the direction of, "What's your name, by the way?" How do you dress?
I think that this is my peak.
This is the peak?
Hey, alright, that's my peak.
What's
What's your name?
And it's actually important. I'm not going to dive into too much of the technicalities around it, but if you think about it, that's the woman saying, I, at least to some extent, want to be less than a stranger with you. I'd like to elevate this, not necessarily to lovers, but we're no longer complete strangers. I'm curious and wanting to get to know you at least a little bit more. Because with a homeless man that you have no interest in meeting or even getting to know, you're obviously not going to ask his name. And so what I've noticed is that with women, either right off of the open or after the first couple of sentences, they will almost abruptly sometimes just go into, "What's your name?" Now we can't hang out.
What's your name?
I'm Kyle. I actually just moved out here from New York,
Really?
like 2 months ago, yeah.
Really?
Why are you surprised about that?
What's your name?
Now, knowing this, where most guys go wrong is they actually open and just ask the girl for her name. So understand, like, why would you do that? There's no reason to do that. You're doing that out of bad habit or nervousness. It's a default sentence that you resort back to. And I've done it too. Like, I'm guilty of actually doing it. But I could tell you that when I run the best interactions, I'm not saying "What's your name?" off the open. And the reason behind that is, number 1, you're displaying interest, which is just unnecessary. There's so many more powerful ways to display interest. But also, number 2, by you playing the card and displaying the interest, it actually fails to give her the opportunity to do that. I think there's much better things that you could be talking about. I recommend you just open, you start the conversation, you make an observation, you maybe ask a question, a different question, and then you give a little bit of personal input on whatever the topic of conversation is. Now, emphasis on giving the woman time to respond. Like, you do not need to fill in the silence instantly. You can end the topic and give it a half second to give her the opportunity to possibly fill in that blank. And don't be surprised when she says, "What's your name?" Is this the first fight?
Dude.
We didn't even go on the first date.
Oh my
we're
gosh.
doing shit out of order.
That's how I like it.
Out of order? Okay.
We're gonna miss our reservation though.
Yeah.
But no, actually, what's your name?
Right? If you hear that, take a mental note. okay, the girl's actually at least somewhat curious about me. It has bought in me at least a couple of seconds or maybe even minutes of conversation, so I can chill out right now, right? It's a great sign that the woman is interested. It does not by any means mean she's down to go on a date and you should ask her out in that moment, but it's definitely a green light. I also want to say that there are a lot of women that won't ask me this question or show me all of these signs, and you could still get those women too. So something to keep in mind and look out for, but not by any means a necessity to happen in the interaction. But I think where most guys go wrong with point number one is they don't actually give the girl the opportunity to do it. They either prematurely do it or they're constantly filling in the silence with the next question, the next question, the next question. Give the girl an opportunity to actually reach out and ask the question, and don't be surprised if she asks it almost abruptly, what's your name? Fly, bro. Now, if girls aren't consistently asking you, what's your name? Or if you're not even getting to a point like that in the conversation, or you're not even approaching women that much, click the link down below and apply to work with me directly, because clearly just watching content isn't actually improving your dating life. Content's great. In my opinion, I have one of the best channels on this stuff on YouTube, but that alone will not change your life. If you want coaching, accountability, support, mentorship to really break through, link is in the description. Book out a free consultation call to sit down with us directly so we could transform your dating life. Now let's move into number two, the second sign that women show repeatedly when they're interested, which is the simple question of,
where are you from?
Now, I know this sounds funny because it's like, what's your name? Where are you from? I promise that the third one is completely different. It's actually more of a body language thing I want to break down with you guys. But these are just the two questions that I always see women asking over and over and over again when they're interested in keeping a conversation going with you. And it's kind of funny because like as a guy, we need to, watch all this content and hire Coach Kyle as a coach and work with him directly to massively improve your charisma and confidence. And then you're landing all of these dates. But for women, they just need to like look cute and be like, what's your name? Where are you from? Right? Guys, it is what it is. I was a dude who didn't have any dates. I used to be mad at the rules of this. You could just be a mad guy who just comments down below, it's all about looks or blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you could either be the hater and stay negative and cry about it, or you can just learn the rules, work with Coach Kyle directly, and get to a place where women are asking you these questions, and then you have nothing to worry about. So what I notice is that women will ask what's your name very early on. You tell her your name, you jump topic into one or two other things. Keep in mind that if she's already asking you questions, you can simply answer the questions in like a flavorful way, but you can also give a half second to a full second pause at the end of your sentences to give her the space to ask you questions. Like the way that you actually get women to want to chase you more and invest in the conversation is by providing that space. Especially if a girl says, what's your name? You can say, oh, I'm Kyle. What's your name? She says, Jess. Oh, Jessica. Pleasure to meet you. Give it a second and just chill. Like she just asked a question. There's actually a little bit of an obligation on her at this point to ask another question, or maybe you do make an observation. You have a little bit of back and forth. Give it a second. Let it breathe. And I promise you, like a decent amount of these women will fill in the silences. And don't be surprised if she already asks you what your name is the next time, because for whatever reason, this is just how women are. I just see the patterns over and over again. They're probably going to say, where are you from? Or do you live here? If a girl asks you both of those questions, we're in a really good position, man. It's a clear indicator that she wants to get to know you, she wants to know who you are, and she wants to keep the conversation going. So you should have a little bit of confidence that you could make it a little flirty and ultimately ask her out on a date. So those are the two questions that I see women consistently asking me. Every time I see a girl that's like going out of her way to ask these questions, even if it's kind of random in the interaction, there seems to be a correlation between that and a high level of interest in actually hanging out again. Now let's move into point number three, which is something completely different than these obvious questions, which is more based around body language. Because what I notice in a lot of my interactions, even if I'm having small talk conversation with women, I will slowly, through body rocking and just kind of talking and inching my way closer, or maybe even just opening rather close, I will get to a place where I am standing very close to the woman. We are talking and my head and her head are right here. If we accidentally moved a little bit closer, not that we're kissing, but we're not here, but we're somewhere between here and here. And if I look at most of the clients I've worked with, I have a lot of clients that have come out to the in-person events. They're already in my one-on-one 8-week online mentorship. They've already been working with us, but then we also bring them out in person. What I notice with a lot of these guys, if I compare my footage to their footage, they're just simply not comfortable at a close enough distance. They're not like crazy far away, but if I'm like here, they're like double the distance. I mean, just imagine I ran this video and I'm like far back here versus if I ran the video and I'm like up in your face, it would actually feel too close. If you went to watch this video and when the camera turned on, the whole screen was my face, you'd be like, I feel uncomfortable. This is weird. Like, why is it so zoomed in on his face? Like, that would be too close. That's the equivalent of talking at this distance, right? But what I've noticed with a lot of these women, when you can hold good eye contact and you can talk and you can laugh a little bit, a lot of these women are very comfortable at this distance. And it creates a very, very intimate vibe when you are talking to a woman at this distance. Now, what I will also notice is that the women that are not interested in me, when I'm at this type of a distance, they slowly step back. They don't awkwardly take a massive step back. I mean, there's a couple women that have done something like that, but most women, they will just slowly inch their way back like one step. And we're still carrying a conversation, so it's not really a big deal. And if I notice that out of my peripheral, I'll even just simply rock to my back foot to create a little bit of space as well. So it's not like I'm ever making a woman extremely uncomfortable. I'm not saying to go in so close to the point where she thinks you're leaning in to kiss her. But what I am saying is that I slowly rock in or out depending on her comfort level. And what I've noticed is that with a lot of these women, I can talk at a very, very close distance. It's almost more powerful than anything you could say with your words. It's just being at a very close distance, allowing pauses, holding deep eye contact, not looking away every 2 seconds. You're kind of talking like this, because even if you say the words, but you're over here talking and you're down, and kind of here, it doesn't matter if you say, you look really cute today. Like, well, dude, what? You're not talking right, bro. And so women that are interested, they will hold this unwavering gaze at a very close distance for a very long time. I'm talking about like minutes at a time. Maybe there'll be occasional moments where we look away and we're thinking, or she asks me a question. I'm like, actually, the last time I was there was, I haven't been there in quite some time, honestly. But a majority of the conversation is just us locked in eye to eye. Very deep eye contact at a very close distance. In my opinion, that's how you display the highest levels of confidence. It's not about you have this verbal witty game. That can help. Most guys suck at that too. But if I just look at any clients like, hey dude, if you want to know if she's into you, like just get more comfortable being at a very close distance. If she talks to you for minutes on end at a close distance, there is clearly some interest. Any woman that's not interested will at some point slightly move back. And that's okay. She just might not be comfortable yet. But I do want to show you the signs when it's going well so you could have more confidence. Like if a girl asks me my name or she asks me where I'm from and I'm already at a close distance to her, I already know it's on. Like I actually know it's on. It's like the girl has already indirectly revealed her cards to me. And when you can see these signs, you can become very, very confident. You will be much more confident in an interaction. You will have much more entitlement and the ability to inject more flirting and the ability to playfully push her away and challenge her and confidently ask her out or maybe even disqualify her. You will have the confidence when you could see these signs and you already know the cards that she's holding. That is really powerful in itself. It's not the end all be all. Like there are a lot of times where the woman isn't showing these signs, and if you know the right skill set and conversation structure, you could still get those kind of women, right? If you want to know more about that, you could check out this video right here. But if you really want to get good at this, if you want to get to a place where women are giving you these signals, they're asking you what your name is, they want to know where you're from, they're talking to you at a very close distance, and there's high levels of attraction, and it is a supercharged interaction where it actually goes to a date, I'd love to help you get to that point. All right, click the link down below. You can apply to work with me directly. That's all for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.